Hello again. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about doing research. So for this argument essay, I'm requiring you to have three sources, right? I'm requiring you to use some research for this essay. So I think the way that we usually think about research is basically finding like proof of your argument, right? Finding something just to back up what you're saying. And that is one way that research is used. I think that's often how things like statistics are used, right? If you're trying to make some claim about, the majority of people do this, and then if you have a study that says, oh, 75% of Americans do this, then that can kind of back up your claim, right? So that's definitely one way to use research. But I feel like that's kind of like where our thinking about research usually stops. We're just like, okay, I'm right, and this person also agrees with me, and that's why I'm right. And I think that there's better ways to think about research than that. First of all, when it comes to really doing research at like the academic level, like professors, who are doing research to write books and essays and things, if you find someone saying the exact same thing as you, that's actually not good. If you find someone making the same argument you're making, then why does anyone need to read your essay? In fact, your essay probably wouldn't get published. They would probably say, hey, listen, people have said this already, you need to come up with something new. So at the highest end of doing research, we're not just looking for people who are making the same argument as us. I think a better way to think about research is that what you're trying to do with the essay that you're writing is enter into a critical conversation that is already going on. So what does that mean? So basically, for whatever topic you're writing about, college, coronavirus, policing, there are already a lot of people who have written about these things, even coronavirus, even though it's fairly new. There's a lot of people who have written about these things already, right? There's a conversation that's already happening. So with your essay, you're trying to enter in that conversation. So the only way that you can become a part of the conversation is if you know what other people are saying, right? So what you want to do for whatever problem that you're picking for your essay, you want to see what other solutions are there out there. And then hopefully there'll be some solutions where you can say, well, I don't agree with them. They're wrong, and here's why. Or like, there's some truth to their solution, but they're missing another point, and here it is. So what you really want to do is kind of locate your essay within what everyone else is saying. And hopefully what you're saying is a little bit different, but even if it's not, you can at least say like, some people have said this argument and they're right, and I'm going to, explain why they're right. That can work too for what we're doing. But again, at the highest levels of research, we're looking to make kind of unique or original arguments. So yeah, what you should do is look for all the other possible solutions that are out there and tell the reader why your solution is the best one, why it's more needed or will be more efficient or get the job done better than things that other people are suggesting. So in terms of getting research, there's a couple of different ways. I have posted on our Canvas page a link to the UCC databases. So you can click on that and it takes you to all these kind of search engines that the college provides access to. There's a lot of them though, there's a whole list, so I'll give you a couple that I would look at especially. The first one is JSTOR, JSTOR. That's one database that's the first one I would use. That really should be all you need for this course. But you can also use EBSCO, EBSCO. And I believe we also, I don't know if we have this one, we might. If we have Project Muse, that's another really good one. I don't remember if we have that one or not though. Project Muse. So JSTOR and EBSCO for sure. So when you go in there, it has a search engine, just like you're using Google or whatever. So you want to type in whatever terms you think will come up, will give you the best results, just like you're looking for something on a regular search engine. So sometimes you might have to change this, if you go in there and you just type in college, I don't know how much is going to come up, or it might be things about, whatever, constructing colleges or the curriculum or things you're not interested in, right? So you might want to say things like college tuition, and then you'll get better results. So just like anything else when you're searching online, you want to make sure that if you're not getting the results you want, you got to be more specific in your search items to get the best things. We'll see how this works with coronavirus. See what you can find. Maybe you can find things more general, right? About like public health and safety or just about the economy in general, and there'll be some way to link it. Because the other thing is that you only need one sentence from an essay, right? You don't need an essay that is entirely exactly on point of where you're going. As long as you can find one sentence or one piece of data or one statistic that's helpful to your essay, that's enough to use it as a source. As long as you're quoting from it, it counts as a source. So yeah, I would definitely encourage using databases like that. A couple of things that will help you with this because it can take a long time. So that's one thing I would say is don't leave this research until the last minute. I would try to do it towards the front end because it can help you kind of come up with your own thesis as well. So I would try to start doing it early. And then the other things that you can look at, you can look at when something was published. That's always a good one. For most disciplines, I wouldn't really use any article that's made before, that was written before like 1980. Anything before that's probably pretty obsolete. It depends what you're doing. If you're trying to have something scientific, you might want to even go even more recent, because scientific consensus changes over time and stuff. So you want to make sure you look at when the article is written. If it's something from 1934, it's probably not going to help you. You don't need to read it. The other thing you want to look at is where something was published. If you're looking for an article about, teaching styles or theories of teaching or learning, and you're looking at an article and the title seems good, but it's in like a business journal, then it might not help you. Or some kind of science journal, maybe it won't help you. Maybe it will, it could, whatever. You just want to look at where it's published and see if that makes you think that it'll help you. Another thing, some essays will have abstracts or summaries, just like a little paragraph at the top telling you what they're about. If they have that, always read it. And all this is really just to try to help you save time because there's nothing worse than like thinking an article is going to be helpful and then you read it all and you're like, oh, this had nothing to do with it. So try not to let that happen. Sometimes if you just read the first few paragraphs, you can tell if it's going to be in the ballpark of what you want to say or not. So you use all of those things to try to make your searching go as smooth and quickly as it can. The other big thing, I have a link also to the MLA formatting page. Um, I'll try to give you some information on APA too. I remember a lot of you said that. I'll try to post that as well. But we are going to be using MLA for this class. So in MLA, there's two main kinds of citing that you need. One of them is the in-text citation. I'll try to post some examples of these. The in-text citation, whenever you have a quote, right? You have and then this person said, and then you have quotation marks, you give us a quote, you end the quotation marks. Right after that, you need parentheses, and then it's the author's last name, and then the page number. No comma, or you don't have to write the word page, just the last name and the number. Close parentheses, period. I'll put a picture of this. So that is an in-text. If you don't have the author's last name, you can use the title of the article. So if you're using an online article, for instance, where sometimes there's not an author, where there's not going to be a page number because it's online, you can use the author's last name and then the title of it. If there's no last name, just go title. So that's the in-text one. It goes right after the quote. It's in parentheses, last name, page number. The other main thing that you need is a works cited page at the end of the paper. Again, I'll post an example of this. But after you finish your essay, you skip all the way down. You start a new page. At the top, you write works cited. Not bibliography or references or anything like that. Works cited. These are all stupid rules, of course. But I want you guys to try to get used to doing this stuff in this class. So when you have, professors who are assholes in your higher level classes, that you'll be used to doing this already. You won't have to deal with them taking points off for these things. So yeah, you want the works cited page. The best way to get the MLA formatting tells you, you need the author's last name and the name of the book and the publisher and the italics and all that. But probably the best way to do this is through these like citation generator tools. The Purdue OWL page with MLA information has one. So if you click on that link, it has a little box where you can put in the name of a book or the name of an article or the name or the URL for a website, and it'll kind of generate it for you automatically. I would check this against the MLA guidelines on how it should look because you want to make sure that you have your italics in the right place, you have the period in the right place. If you need like quotation marks or whatever, that those are in the right place. You just want to make sure that the formatting is all, how it should be. And again, we want to get used to doing this stuff for future classes. One more thing, just on the idea of credible sources. I'm not going to be like too much of a stickler about this. Try to use things from sources that you've heard of, like major newspapers or magazines that have been around for a long time. No Wikipedia, no YouTube videos. unless it's a video that's produced by you know, a newspaper or one of these credible organizations. Um, yeah, so if you can, just always go with a website that like people have heard of or an organization that people have heard of. That's usually the best way to do it. And you also want to know if it's any kind of political organization, you know, if we need to take that into account, if something's going to be more on one political side or the other. But yeah, as long as you're using things from like sources that people are probably familiar with, or things that end in like .edu if it's produced by a college or something, that's always good. So yeah, just stick to that stuff for credible sources, and obviously anything from the databases. I think that's all my stuff on research. Approach it as if you're getting involved in a conversation that other people are already having. Find sources that way. And then we want to have our in-text citation and our works cited page, and use the databases for at least one of our sources. And I think that should be everything we need. All right, we'll talk about this more. I know it's confusing.